Welcome to Gen X Unfiltered, where three Gen Xers dig through the emotional junk drawer of life
and turn it into an unhinged group chat about everything from pop culture and personal growth to the stuff we never really unpacked.
If you've ever been told to toughen up but now cried in commercials, you're our people.
Welcome back to Gen X Unfiltered. I'm Kelly, and if a couple didn't have at least one dramatic hallway kiss, I wasn't interested.
I'm Steve, and if a couple didn't break up at least twice a season, were they even trying?
And I'm Eric. Today we're counting down the top 10 TV couples of the 80s and 90s, the slow burns, the sweethearts, and the total disasters we couldn't stop watching.
Yay! You did it!
Got through it. It only took 2-3 takes.
If you guys could see the takes we just did on this, apparently Eric had trouble saying his name.
I had a weak case of the sillies, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't get through my lines.
This is supposed to be fun. It's a podcast.
Eric had a little alcoholic beverage, which apparently hit you very hard.
I had a little refresher mid podcast here.
Like a shot?
No.
Oh.
I said a refresher.
Oh, okay. Anyway, like we said, we're talking about the top 10 TV couples of the 80s and 90s.
All right. I'm looking forward to see what's on this list.
Yeah. I mean, we've done a couple podcasts of top 10 lists of TV shows.
Yeah, we did moms, dads, and siblings, right?
So,
Yeah.
of course, we have to do couples. Let's see if there's any crossovers, any new ones. Top 10 list, according to ChatGPT. We'll give ChatGPT the props it deserves.
That's right. Our friends at ChatGPT. Thank you, Sam Altman.
Is that who that is?
That's the owner, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Founder.
We can also blame our AI overlord if any of this doesn't make any sense.
That's
Yes.
right. Any sort of weird sentences, whatever. Yes, it's all AI's fault.
It's part of the fun. You never know what you're going to get. All right, number 10. These are groups. This group is 10 to 6, called the underrated and unexpected.
Ooh, I like it.
Right?
Weird. Okay.
Why?
No, that's cool.
All right, number 10. Paul and Jamie Buckman. Paul and Jamie Buckman, Mad About You. They were
Ooh.
neurotic, messy, and so relatable. This was a pre-internet rom-com masterpiece. I loved Mad About You.
I think you were thinking of Mitch Buchanan.
I think so, yeah.
But I loved Mad About You.
I like Mad About. I don't know if I would have thought about them, to be honest.
Yeah.
But they are
that is
quintessential
actually a
couple.
really good,
That show was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know why I think it was a very, like, they should be on this list as a couple? Because, I mean, at the very tail end, when it was the last season, yes. But they never had children. It was just them. They were a couple living in New York City.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was a documentary producer.
Documentary,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and she worked for, like, I don't know, like corp or like.
They had trouble conceiving on the show. That was one of their plot lines, right?
They did. I mean, they ended up having a baby at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But also too, like, they went through a lot, right? So they had the typical like honeymoon stage, but then they actually separated for a portion of the show because she started having a crush on her boss or something. I don't know, but they ended up separating for a little bit. And it was just the regular struggles. Like there was an episode of like a Sunday or Saturday where they're like, oh, it's the weekend. We need to be living life. And they spent the whole entire day arguing over what they were going to do that they didn't end up doing anything. Right. Like, so
Just,
I mean,
yeah,
it was
kind of relatable stuff.
It was definitely
It
based
was.
in realism. Yeah. For
and
sure.
they had their like friends and then the cousin Ira and like
Oh,
the
I remember
dog
that, and the
walker,
dog
Murray the dog.
Oh, the dog was super
was she
popular.
married to Hank Azaria?
She was at some point.
She
I
was,
think.
right? Because
I
it was Hank
believe
Azaria as
so.
the dog walker, and they
Yeah.
were in real
I don't know
life,
if they
right?
were married then, but I think
But
they were.
they were okay. I
think.
thought they did. Or
Yeah.
because Helen Hunt she was huge in like that
Twister.
90s and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Twister.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Twister. Yeah,
But I would say, I don't know.
Don't forget Paul Reiser. You had Couplehood,
that's right.
the book.
Number one bestseller.
And
I'm sure.
also, well, here's the thing. So, Mad About You was not really, but you could call it was almost like a spin off from. No, hold on a second. Let me get this straight.
Okay.
No, I don't know which one started first. I think Mad About You started first, but they went to the restaurant and Ursula was the waitress, and
That's
Ursula
right.
ended up being the twin sister of Phoebe on Friends.
That's right, Lisa Kudrow. Yeah,
And they had a couple crossover episodes.
I remember they had some of them there.
I had to
yeah.
get that right in my head. It was very
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah, exactly. That would be first because Phoebe, not Phoebe, Ursula
Yeah.
was on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That's
then
right. I
came
kind of forgot about
Friends.
that.
Because
Yeah.
I think there was an episode of Friends where Jamie and I can't remember her friend's name went to Central Park and they thought Phoebe was Ursula and Phoebe was just sitting there.
There was some sort
And then
of, I'm
vice
pretty
versa
sure,
had
yeah.
happened, I think.
Yeah.
But
Very clever. Very
I
clever
don't
writing.
know. I haven't really reviewed this whole list yet, but I feel like just talking about it, they deserve to be way higher than number 10.
Yeah, I don't know who else is on here. We'll see, but
All right.
I could see that. I think you can make an argument for them being higher than that. Yeah.
Number 9, Alan, Peggy Bundy, married with children. They hated each other, but also kind of loved each other. The anti-couple we didn't know we needed, and somehow it worked, like dysfunctional soulmate energy. I mean, I could see that. They were high school sweethearts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, they obviously, I mean, on the surface, the show is just like, oh my God, they hate each other. But like, it definitely wasn't like that.
Yeah, it was a weird sort of dynamic who did it too. Because, it was, Al, they definitely butted heads every episode, but there was an underlying...
Yeah.
I think you're bang on with surface level. Like surface level, they're very sarcastic with each other.
Yeah.
A little bit, borderline nasty sometimes.
Yeah.
But underneath that, there was, they really cared about each other as a family. And anybody messed with the Bundy, you got you paid the price.
They were together since high school and had 2 kids and still together. So there must have been some love under there,
clearly,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And that was a hilarious show. Like Married with Children was amazing. That was a great show. I loved it.
I need to rewatch that show. I don't remember much. I mean, I remember it, but I don't remember.
Do you remember their family chant? The Whoa Bundy.
That's right, yeah.
But I mean, I think that's a surprise addition to the.
Well, because they argued so much or bickered or whatever, they insulted each other.
Entertaining.
But I feel
it was
like
funny
that's
as hell,
real life too, though. Like a lot of people that are in a relationship long term, like they have banter like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, not every day is sunshine and roses. It's
one of my favorite TV shows is King of Queens, and all they do is be mean to each other.
Oh my God!
They might not. Maybe they'll be They might be more millennial. I don't know.
They're probably like 2000s.
Yeah, but
I feel like it started in the late 90s.
Though. Maybe they're on the list. We'll find out.
I don't know, but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Anywho, number 8, Corey and Topanga, Boy Meets World. Gen X watched this love story from awkward preteens to married adults. Topanga was the moment, and Corey was the blueprint for soft boys everywhere. I don't even know what that means.
I think that means because he was kind of I'm thinking that means he was kind of like a wimp. He was like a dorky kind of kid.
What's the modern day word for that now?
I don't know what ChatGPT is doing here. Soft boys.
Wait, but isn't there a modern word now for guys that are like that?
Are you thinking like simp?
Simp
or like cuck, like the kind of just pushover guys. Is that what that is?
Yeah. Pushover.
I'm guessing that's where they were going with that.
I think that's what they mean by the blueprint for soft. I think they because he was like a good kid on that show, but he wasn't like mean or from what I remember, he was just kind of like a regular kid.
From what I remember though, Topanga quote unquote wore the pants in that relationship.
From what I remember, yes, because he was kind of like dolty, wasn't he?
He was just he loved hard and like he was a good.
Kind of like sort of from whatever.
Was she a rebel?
No,
but she was kind of like out there, like a hippie kind of.
Yeah, she was like
kid,
a
wasn't she?
Goody
Sort of like
shoes, kind of like fly by the seat of her pants. Like I think she had like I mean, you aren't in our era of age if like you didn't know about the Corey and Topanga romance, right? Like it was always like, and then they ended up like getting together. And I believe, I could be wrong because I'm getting a little mixed up in my head. I haven't watched the show since I watched it originally, but I believe like there was like a pre-marriage conception that happened and then they got married. Something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah.
But they ended up getting married, right? Like they were off and on. He had a crush. It's the typical thing where like the boy is the crush from the beginning and then it takes their time to warm up and then they get together.
Yeah. Did they ever graduate from university on that show? College?
I don't
know. I know they went to college, but
that's right. I forgot what they did.
I stopped watching in the later years, but I don't know. But I mean, I think that they deserve to be on those lists just because they're kind of iconic.
Show, it was on. I don't know how many seasons. It was on for quite a while too. The show, like I don't know how many seasons it was, but it was on for like
in the 2000s.
Yeah, it was on for like quite a while.
But I think Corey and Topanga, like there can't be a top 10 couples list without them being on it, whether you loved or hated them.
No, talking about like the 80s, 90s, yeah, like that was a big show, and the two of them was a big part of it.
The show built them up to be like fated to be together, basically.
Yeah.
All right, number 7. We're whipping through this list. Jesse and Becky, Full House. Bad boy gets domesticated. The mullet never stood a chance. They made parenting twins and hosting a morning show look easy. Wah, wah, wah. Y'all know how I feel about Full House. This is a cop-out, whatever. It was like the cleanest ever show. Like, of course, they had to be the perfect little parents, but they weren't. Like I said in the earlier podcast, I've been seeing clips on TikTok and I forgot about the episode where they spoiled Nikki and Alex so bad that they're little terrors.
Oh, little jerk kids.
Did that happen?
Uh-oh.
Remember, yeah. It doesn't
and they wrecked
me.
Michelle's solar system presentation.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So they were a little too, like, loosey-goosey-doosey. But
Jesse was a rocker, man. He was all about, he was against the rules.
Jesse and the Rockers. Yeah.
But I do have to say that, again, you can't talk about Full House without Jesse and Rebecca because they were, like, literally from second season on, she was in the mix.
Yeah. I'm still shocked that you hated Full House. For some reason, I thought you loved this show.
Like, hate's a strong word. Like, obviously, at the time I watched, I wasn't there at, like, 10 years old being like, oh, this is over the top and ridiculous.
This is so cheesy.
But, like,
so relatable, right, Dad?
I think it's just one of those shows that even though it's nostalgic in the sense that I used to watch it, I can't stomach to go back and watch it.
It was super cheesy. Even then it was. Like, people would make fun of it all the time for, like, all the cheesy music and the little life lessons from old Danny Tanner getting on one knee. Now, listen, Michelle.
Yeah.
You can't shoot people, right? Whatever she would, But let's go have some ice cream. And
and like, there's lots of crappy shows that I could rewatch just for the nostalgia, but that I just can't do it. It's just too much.
I can't imagine the acting being that great or that.
No. Now, if you also look at Aunt Becky, like, sort of, again, she was in the show for a long time.
Yeah.
But she also took on a mothering role to not her kids as well. So that kind of made the dynamic of her and Uncle Jesse kind of. I mean, again, you can't talk about Full House without Jesse and Rebecca.
Well, because they were like, I'm just trying to remember, like, but did Danny Tanner got remarried at some point, didn't he? I had a girlfriend or someone. I can't remember, but I don't know. Did Joey ever? But like, I was gonna say, but they were kind of the only real couple on that show for.
Joey could never have a full he did have girlfriends throughout, but
that's more sad.
That's right. Yeah,
he could never have a girlfriend long term on that show because that wasn't his character.
No, exactly. But I'm trying to think on that. But other than, I guess maybe it was a DJ and Steve, her boyfriend.
Yeah.
They were kind of the only other, like, sort of quote unquote couple on that show from what I remember.
Yeah, but I mean, she was like 17.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's not
I know.
like they were like.
And he was Aladdin, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. That's why I liked Aladdin. But he came back for Fuller House, reprised his role.
I mean, what else is he going to do?
I was just, not to be, like.
I'm just saying, be a jerk, but
Yeah, like, I don't know if any of them were really doing anything super exciting,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We won't have issues with Candace Cameron. Beret. Sorry, Beret.
The pocket rocket.
But yeah, I mean, Jesse and Becky, I feel like they have to be on this
I
list.
think that's I can see why they're on this list for sure, yeah.
Number 6. I feel like this is a little cop-out.
Ooh.
Angela and Tony, who's the boss. This was a masterclass in slow burn. I mean, they gave us
the masterclass.
They gave us gender role reversal and sexual tension you could cut with the meatball. And they're right. Like, with the meatball.
Is that racist?
Yeah, it's a weird tip.
Tony. Because he's Italian.
Tony's Italian,
Look, it's not us. It's ChatGPT, okay?
Yeah.
But I guess, like, this was the slowest burn in history because I think they only ended up getting together like the last season. It wasn't even the full season because they didn't stay together.
They broke up, and then they got back together again.
Because the chemistry, I die on the hill of saying once they got them together, they realized the chemistry was terrible and the audience hated it. That's why they broke them up. And then, of course, they'd end up together. But
that's the problem, though. You run that risk of, like, the whole series is built around that tension of will they, won't they. When they finally do, it's like,
it didn't hit.
Oh, yeah. This fell flat.
For me, it did. I never was like, yeah, that's so romantic.
Don't
it was so short. They were together for like 4 episodes.
Yeah, no, but I remember them getting together because at one point he was in like a tuxedo or something like that. Maybe that was the final episode.
Yeah, I think they just waited too long to make it happen.
But that's the problem. Maybe they just should have done it like.
I think they needed to do to do what they did on Friends. Have them get together relatively early, have it not work out, and then the last back half of the series is like the will they, won't they again.
Yeah, kind of like with Ross and Rachel, yeah.
But also, I'm kind of glad they didn't because to me, Tony and Angela's chemistry when they were a couple was awful, and it just would have, the show would have tanked over.
But I think, like, I don't know, the whole show was kind of stale at that point anyways, right? So maybe, like, it wasn't that they were, like, so... they didn't work well together. There's no chemistry, but the whole show had no chemistry at that point.
I mean,
that's possible too. Maybe the show just kind of like, this thing's kind of jumped the shark.
I think the wheels have fallen off.
Yeah,
that
but honestly,
let them hook up and see what happens.
Pretty much.
Honestly, aside from a couple of like episodes where like he saw her naked or like whatever, but like aside from a couple episodes like that, I don't even think that the series leading up to it was full of sexual tension looking back. Like it just never like it was never like, oh, are they gonna get together? I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
It just wasn't a good. I think their characters were great together, being Angela and Tony.
Yeah,
whatever. But like as a couple, it just didn't.
Yeah. Fly. Maybe they should have just stayed platonic.
But they had to. That was
because it was always that.
Yeah.
I think Tony should have hooked up with Mona. She seemed like she was way more fun than Angela.
Oh yeah,
she's
the wild grandma.
Yeah.
Get in there, Tone.
I don't know who else is on this list, but I'll reserve my judgment on Tony and Angela being on this list.
That's right. We're going into the top 5 now.
Whoa.
The icons. That's what they labeled it. The icons.
Icons of romance.
All right. This show has been in every episode of this we have done so far.
Yeah.
Number 5, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, Fresh Prince, the original power couple. They had class, sass, and never took nonsense.
Really? You're not going to rhyme in sass, class, and
nonsense?
I know, but really no ass?
I know. Was the third part?
Yeah.
I don't have the brain of a 10-year-old like you guys do.
Well, I don't know, but
Viv could shut you down with a stare, and Phil had dad jokes and morals. I mean, they were a pretty iconic a couple.
They were a good one. Yeah. I always liked. I
always say original Viv was better.
Yeah,
100%.
Second Viv got into it late. Like it took her a couple of years to get into the role, but she did.
Yeah.
I feel like the first Viv and Phil were more of a power couple. Like they ruled the roost, pretty well. And I think the second Viv was really soft.
She was softer.
She wasn't as the first Aunt Viv seemed
because
like
I also think
strong.
first Aunt Viv.
She's more like a woman you don't want to mess with.
Well, I feel like first Aunt Viv, and this is no knock to like what she looked like, but she just had a harder look to her. Whereas the second Aunt Viv had like. First Aunt Viv had like the perfectly coiffed hair and like just wore like more of like the suits and stuff like that. And second Aunt Viv kind of had the like looser, floofy hair.
Yeah.
It was just a softer look, right? She wore more like pants and blouses.
Yeah.
Like, so
maybe that was why they switched her out. They went on something a little.
But I mean, she
softer,
was.
I don't know.
She was tough. It just wasn't original Viv.
Yeah, no, the first one was great. And Uncle Phil, the guy, why am I blanking on his name now? James Avery.
James Avery.
He was great. Like he was good. There was a great show. They did a good job, those two.
Fun fact: he was also the voice of Shredder.
That's right.
Who the hell's Shredder?
From
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Oh, okay. They look at me like I should know that.
Put some respect on that.
Okay, number 4. Yeah. The hamster just fell off the wheel. Let's start over there. Number 4. I was too busy thinking of like old Aunt Viv versus new Aunt Viv.
That debate lives on in your mind.
Number 4 is Zach and Kelly Saved by the Bell. The original hot, cool couple. You either wanted to be them or date them. The prom episode, core memory.
Zach and Kelly, yeah. I mean,
Zach Morris is trash.
They have to be on this list, even though like it was so cheesy and like.
There again, they're one of those couples that the show was built up like they were meant to be together through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because even in the like college years, I think, because they ended up getting married.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they had a wedding
extended
episode.
in Hawaii, right?
But like in college, they were kind of like she was there and like
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the whole thing where they were gonna end up together.
Yeah. It was just that they took them a few tries to get there.
But they actually weren't together that long in the show because she left the show like sooner than mostly because Tori came. Remember, Tori took her spot.
Oh, the girl,
right. Yeah,
the leather jacket girl.
So she left the show, and then the show continued on.
Yeah,
but even then, when they got together, then they broke up at prom. So like they actually, if you went back and looked at how many episodes they were together, I feel like it wasn't even a season.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, yeah, I'd have to go.
The prom episode where they're dressed like Romeo and Juliet.
That's right. I thought we'd be together forever. That's right. The back
because she had a crush on an older college boy.
That's right, Jeff from the Max. That's right.
Oh.
It was her boss, wasn't it?
It was her boss.
And she fell for the power.
That's right.
Zach could not compete with Jeff.
Hey, it was a manager of the Max, man. That's.
He's going places.
That's right.
Remember they're sitting outside on the picnic table and you can hear Jesse and
Slater are singing, right? Yeah.
I don't know what song it is, but they keep
it was like a cheat. I think it was like a not a real song.
They keep doing cuts of them singing and then they're sitting on the picnic table and you're right like I thought we'd be together forever.
I think Jesse and Slater were a better couple.
They were
funnier.
They were funnier. They seemed like they actually had fun together and enjoyed being in each other's company.
Well, because they were the complete opposite. He was the jock and she was the uptight, like,
What do you always call her, like, Mama?
Yeah. And I mean, they were good together because, they, like, were so opposite. And they were together for a while.
Yeah.
They were together for, like, Yeah, like I don't want
longer
to say
than
like
Zach and Kelly.
Most of the show, maybe. I don't know when they got together, but no, they were definitely a couple way longer.
Yeah, but I'm curious how this plays out because I think sometimes the secondary couple is actually the better couple than the main couple in these shows.
Well, because they're lucky because they can just be the comic relief and try to be funny. They don't
have the pressure of the chemistry.
And they're not trying. The whole series is kind of based on their relationship. They can say something funny in that one scene, and everyone's like, "Oh, that was hilarious," and that's all they kind of do.
Yeah,
so they can kind of get away with. Like,
they don't have to carry the show.
Yeah,
but again, you can't talk about top TV couples without Kelly and Zach. It might have been short, but it was passionate.
Oh yeah, and that was Saved by the Bell, man. That was a big show, and I totally forgot that they got married. That was it Saved by the Bell Hawaiian style or something or other?
Oh yeah,
or they went to Vegas or something. I think you might be getting Baywatch.
Am I getting Baywatch mixed up?
Baywatch Hawaiian style. That was that one. Yeah. Everyone was in Hawaii at some point in time.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I'm like, wait,
I feel like they went to Vegas because obviously, because they were driving. Remember, the car broke down. There's a calamity of errors.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Saved by the Bell spinoffs. Like, wasn't there like a Saved by the Bell summer?
They did have a Saved by the Bell Hawaii. Remember, they went and was it Kelly's grandfather owned a resort or something?
So I'm positive they went to Hawaii or something. But then there was
Vegas.
Yeah, I think Eric's thinking about when they worked that summer.
That was part of the regular show.
Oh, I thought that was a summer spinoff.
No, they just worked at it was
the
summer
beach club.
Yeah, the beach club with Leah
Ramini.
Leah Ramini was there and stuff.
She's a good actress. She plays those characters.
She was in a ton of stuff too. Yeah, but I think that's what you're thinking of. Is
it's like when Beverly Hills did that. They they did a
the summer season.
Well, you know how like seasons are usually like when school starts and school ends. That's the season. Yeah. But this time it went into the summer because that's how Brendan had to work at the beach club.
So they didn't do summer reruns. They actually had a new season in the summer.
No. This was just like played like the regular series, but am I making sense what I'm saying? It ran the regular TV time, but instead of just doing like the beginning of school to end of school, they ended school early. So but not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you're just saying it really weird. There was no special summer season.
No, it was regular TV schedule.
They had summer
in the show.
In the show,
yeah.
Okay,
it wasn't like it didn't run like over June, July.
No.
Okay. Gotcha.
Why couldn't I not explain that?
I probably screwed things up
that
for
was
you. I'm
really
sorry.
hard.
It was just, it's confusing because the way you were talking.
I know, it wasn't making any sense. But we are going to do a quick little camera restart. We'll be right back.
All right, we'll be back.
All right, we are back and we are in the top 3 already.
The danger zone.
I'm disappointed because there's a couple.
Is this still the icons?
Yes, I'm disappointed because there's a couple that I feel like need to be on this list, and so far they haven't showed up, and I don't know if they're going to be in the top 3.
I don't know.
I'm pissed. I am pissed.
Well, they haven't finished yet, so they could still be there.
Number 3. Cliff and Claire Huxtable, The Cosby Show. They were aspirational, funny, and always in sync, even when the kids were chaotic. They made marriage look effortless, which is impressive considering the sweater collection. Ooh, ChatGPT's on one today.
Cosby, his sweater collection was something.
It was an epic collection. Yeah.
I do have to say that, even though the series is tainted, but I do have to say that Cliff and Claire Huxtable were probably one of the top tier TV couples. They had success. They were both very successful careers, professional careers. I mean, it was a black family, which was awesome to see them represented on TV and being a successful
a doctor and a lawyer, right?
And they had 5 children who were chaotic, and they
were both equally involved in the parenting. It wasn't one was the dominant parent and one was kind of like the bumbling idiot.
No,
well, I mean, Claire was the harder ass, but Cliff was the more sensitive. He still gave tough lessons, but he was more sensitive.
Well, he was a little more goofy too at times. His little face he'd do and stuff. But it is too bad because that show was completely tainted and
exactly. All of his work is it's
rightfully
tainted.
So.
Exactly.
But
I just feel bad for.
Obviously, we know why.
Yeah.
And I mean, but they were they had very great chemistry.
Well, that's the thing. The two of them, him and Felicia, they were well on camera together and stuff like that.
The whole cast had great chemistry with each other. It definitely felt like it was they were a family with all the chaos and the crap and the strangeness. But
I always like the grandparents on that. I remember the grandparents were really cool.
Oh, what was their names?
Oh, I don't remember. But I just remember they had the gray hair and the.
The little mustache.
Yeah. They were on it a lot.
No, they were on there all the time, and they'd show up and
they do the dance for them, the anniversary dance. But I mean, I definitely think Cliff and Claire deserve to be in the top 3 for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, that's definitely no complaints there.
Yeah. Number 2 is Sam and Diane Cheers. Will they, won't they? Before it was a thing. Fire and ice, and somehow it worked. Also, most dramatic breakups this side of a soap opera. How did they break up? I wasn't a religious Cheers watcher. I knew the...
Oh, geez. I don't know. Yeah.
She left the show, so I'm sure they wrote her off like she's leaving. Like
she probably left to go get a job somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's a good, because that's like another, like Cheers was like a massive
huge.
show.
Oh yeah.
It's really sad here. George Wendt passed away recently.
Yeah.
I feel on the show, like the whole thing was she was going to marry Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Do you guys talk about that already?
No.
Okay,
I'm
good.
just agreeing with you.
Okay. But that was the whole conflict between her and Sam. Was like her and Sam were obviously like,
because they'd always butt heads, but
butt heads.
Like that.
They're fire and ice.
Because she was prim and proper, right?
Yeah.
Like she was prim and proper.
Their opposites attract, and Kelsey Grammer was more up her.
He was kind
more
of
of her
same.
alley.
Yeah, he was
now, I feel like the relationship between Sam and Diane was more powerful than when Sam and Rebecca were together.
Yeah, I forgot about Kirstie Alley. Yeah,
but I think
forgot
because they were such polar opposites, and also like it was early in the show, so it was before it was like height of popularity. It was just more organic. But I wonder how many seasons she was actually on. It was probably like not that many.
I think it was like almost half and half.
Really? She was on it for that long?
I think she left in like 86 or 7, like
and her,
we can Google it, but
and her and Ted Danson, they had good chemistry on camera. Like
they
were good. Like they would, the way they would banter back and forth and stuff like that. Like it was
and
really
her,
good.
Her
and Kirstie Alley was hilarious on the show. Like
she was
hilarious.
Good too.
Yeah, just not the same like chemistry between her and like
just different.
Yeah, different.
I don't think that they. I mean, again, they had to because that's what they do. But I mean, I definitely think that they were just better as like coworkers and friends. Like the banter. Yeah, her character was hilarious. I loved her. I liked her character more than Diane's character.
Yeah.
Well, because she had. Because Shelley Long kind of like the higher pitched voice and stuff like that. So she had that kind of like
she was
almost like a snootiness to her.
Yeah,
total snootiness. Exactly.
But she played it up well. And Ted Danson sort of being the retired ball player.
And Kirstie Alley has a more comedic character, right? She was just.
Cheers, though. I keep seeing clips of it on like TikTok and stuff like that, and Instagram. Like I need to go back and I haven't like.
Cheers would be good
I don't think I ever watched the whole thing. Like I would watch it, but it'd be worth watching again.
That the amount of times the episode that aired ruined my life, where Woody has the girlfriend Kelly and he plays the song for her. He goes, Kelly, Kelly. Do you know how many times people used to do that to me? And I'm like, please stop. Then I get referred to as Kelly Kapowski, but not because I look like her, but just the name.
Well,
Kelly. I'm like, oh my god, I heard it so many times.
Never get old, huh?
If you ever meet Woody Harrelson, slap him in the face.
Thanks a lot, Woody. You ruined my life.
But Woody Harrelson was a good character too, because he usually, he plays very opposite characters in movies and stuff. He was just like the bumbling,
sweet, goofy. He was very sweet.
He was like the Midwestern corn-fed country kid that was just sort
what
of.
Was his name?
He was very
his
literal.
Name was Woody.
Oh, it was Woody.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
He was very literal on the show. Like
he just took everything.
He didn't get jokes.
No, exactly.
And then even his girlfriend was this sweet little you know. Yeah. And then, that was a really good show. My mom used to watch that show all the time. I remember when the finale was on, I believe, I could be getting it mixed up with something else, but I believe it was actually aired. It was so huge. It aired at
the Sky Dome.
Yeah. Yeah, it
did.
Yeah.
No,
it was huge.
That's how big it was. That's crazy when you think about that.
It's just hard to remember because, you kind of forget how long ago that was, but like there wasn't a ton of TV channels to watch.
Yeah.
So like these shows had massive followings.
Oh yeah.
Whereas now, like, the biggest shows on TV are probably a fraction of what they used to be.
Well,
and everything's so spread all over the place. It's so different. But then it was like everything was like an event.
I'm pretty
sure the number one finale for like ratings of all time is still MASH.
I think it's still MASH.
Yeah. Do you remember though? Either one of you? I feel like Eric might more, just because whatever, maybe not. But how did it end again? Did the bar close?
Yeah.
Is that how it ended?
He sold the bar.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah. That was the only kind of.
And so they also said their goodbyes.
Okay.
And apparently now, if you go to the Cheers bar in Boston for Norm, the corner seat is like.
We went to the Cheers bar. It's a lot different than you'd expect it to be.
It looked nothing
small.
like the. Yeah,
nothing
like
the
show at all.
Very small.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the entrance.
The exterior looked the same.
It was cute though.
It was fun to go see.
I love Boston pubs. They're cute. They were very.
Boston was a great city.
I loved visiting Boston.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
fun. A bunch of us went. It was good.
Best clam chowder I ever had in my life.
Yeah, it was good. The lobster right out of the ocean. Ooh,
that was the first lobster. Oh,
we are so ADD when we do these podcasts.
I know. What are we talking about?
I don't even know.
We're doing a podcast. Oh, there's a camera.
Is it rolling? That was fun when it didn't roll in time. Whoops.
But we just start talking about something, and then we go on banters, and then we end up going this, and then we have to reel it back in. Okay.
And we're coming back, reeling it back in for number
I'm pissed.
Holy crap, we're number 1.
I am pissed because, first of all, 2 things aren't even on this list. I just saw number 1, and this is the biggest cop-out ever. I mean, I get it. It has to be, but that's my response.
Okay.
All right, number 1, Ross and Rachel friends. We were on a break. We get it. Messy, emotional, and weirdly addictive, just like real love. This was the 90s love story, whether you liked it or not. I did not like it.
It was
But it was
massive.
I do have to say, the episode where they got together and kissed, they did a really good job on editing that episode to build up the time. Even like the music.
Is that the
and
one
the
where
rain,
he's like outside of the coffee shop?
Door locking.
And the door won't open?
Yeah, like in the rain, and then the music, and the door sweeps open. I mean, it was very like Hollywood.
They built up to a big epic moment.
And then like he fucks it up, like trying to get it unlocked.
Typical Ross fashion. Yeah. Was it Melissa Etheridge playing in the background too? I think it was, and stuff.
So I mean, that was very epic how they did that. Like I will give them that. Like even now, you're kind of like your heart flutters a little. You're like, oh my god, everybody wants that.
Melissa Etheridge, how could it not flutter?
That's right.
Like, why can't I meet a boy like that? Right? But like,
just go to Starbucks and lock the door and see what happens.
That's right. Yeah.
But I mean, the one thing I think Friends did right was, which we were kind of talking about, who's the boss, is that was like second season. They got together.
It was pretty early on.
So they made it early. They were together for a couple of seasons, and we all know they broke up. And then the whole back half of the series was, were they going to get together? Were they not going to get together? And of course, they ended up. I mean, that show could not have ended any other way than them being together.
No. And the whole will they, won't they, like breaking up, getting back together, they got kind of tired after a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
But I think they did a good job of changing the focus more to like Chandler and Monica.
They should be on this list because Chandler and Monica were an epic
and
couple.
That kind of gave the show like a mid like
a
series,
second
wind really,
because it kind of came out of nowhere, completely out of nowhere. Nobody sort of saw it coming. All of a sudden, it was like she popped up and they were in bed together. I was like, what the?
Well, so here's the thing. I was watching a lot of or reading about whatever. I don't know who it was, but some of the producers and stuff that they were obviously supposed to hook up in England, right? Because Monica was all lonely, but that's all it was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be like in the series they were together, but the audience reacted so crazy that they're like, let's kind of like,
hey, maybe we should try and
see what happens.
There's something here.
And like it blew up. So that's the whole reason why they ended up like continuing with that whole thing, because it was supposed to be like a couple of hookups here and there, and then everybody like went crazy, and they're like, oh damn, we got to keep going with it.
Well, because it was funny, because from what I can remember, at least, there was never any inkling of anything between the two of them. From what I remember, at least. So when it happened, you're like, whoa,
I
didn't see that coming. Yeah.
I mean,
and like you said, it kind of gave that show like a
second win.
Yeah. And I mean, they were way better together than Ross and Rachel.
100%.
I will die on the hill that Ross was an asshole character at the time, but looking back,
well, it's like
I was gonna ask that. There's all those videos about Ross is a toxic character.
He's awful.
Yeah, and I was like, do you think that's the case?
Absolutely. His character was manipulative. His character was gaslighty. I don't think his character was fundamentally a mean character. I think he was just manipulative. I think he gaslit. I think he played the guilt trip. Like, he was just a like, woe is me, and like, I don't know. I would rather Rachel and Joey be together.
He was always about Ross. It always, how does this affect me?
Like, he could go out and like literally go marry somebody else and then be mad because Rachel like hooked up with somebody.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, shut up.
Ross is trash.
Well, he is. I mean,
no, you see a lot of people. I've seen that a few times. Instagram or the story, about whether or not he was a
Rachel
good guy.
Wasn't her best self with Ross. She was her best self with Joey. I mean, her and Joey, like, they would never have, well, I don't know, but
they hooked up for like an episode.
But Joey's the one that stepped up and took her in when she was pregnant and broke up with Ross and like said, hey, come live with me. And like so he just stepped up. Not that Ross was a bad dad. He wasn't, but like, it just, Monica and Chandler should have been on this list over, I mean, Ross and Rachel have to be on the list. Like,
well, just because they were the,
but like over Angela and Tony, Monica and Chandler.
Okay? I was more invested in Monica and Chandler, what happened with them, than Ross and Rachel.
Because they were like another fun fact. At one point in the series, before I don't know if it was after they were married or before they were going to get married, they were going to have Chandler cheat on Monica, and Chandler actually said to the writers, he's like, or Matthew Perry said Chandler would never ever do that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
It's not his character.
It doesn't make sense for that character to do that. Like literally everybody would hate it. And
that's
he's
the
right
thing too. Is like that made like this maybe Chandler doesn't come back from this
because
like
Chandler
in the public eye.
Because Chandler was like the lovable, goofy, like sarcastic, but like protector, loving guy.
Good-hearted.
Yeah.
So I mean, even Matthew Perry's like Chandler would not do that. Like Joey, but like the audience would probably forgive Joey for doing it because kind of like his character,
it would have been because
right?
he was that kind of guy. Like that was his always hooking up with girls and you know.
Whereas Chandler, the whole series, he talks about how he's like slept with like 2 women and was like a dork.
So that all of a sudden cheat on, it wouldn't have. Would have been a terrible mistake and would have completely, I think, tanked
that whole storyline.
Yeah, it would have been not a good idea.
Yeah. So there is some honorable mentions. I literally can see 3 couples on here that I feel like should have been on this list.
Okay, well, people can't see the list. So
I know. I was reading. I was talking kind of like I'm leading up to it. Dan and Roseanne 100% should have been on this list.
Yeah.
They should have been in the top 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say top 5, but I could see top 3.
Top 3, 100%.
They were great show, great couple, great chemistry, hilarious.
Epitome of the chemistry, but the epitome of like struggles and fighting, but loving, but like hating, but everything.
Dan and Roseanne. Roseanne was just a really, really, really good show. Yeah.
Monica and Chandler.
There you go, Monica and Chandler. Yeah.
The honorable mention. There they are.
Yep. Kevin and Whitney, The Wonder Years. Were they together for a long time on that series?
They were together for a bit. They broke up. Yeah.
I was gonna say they did the total like breakup.
They did the breakup thing. Yeah. After they finally got together, they broke up.
Yeah, and like. Okay. Yeah, it's a little different. It's kind of like, I don't know, because they're like kids.
Like high school,
It's like even Zach and Kelly seems a little different.
It's like what they call like the puppy love kind of story.
So I don't know. They're fine. I'm okay with them being on the
honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I never watched this show, so I don't know. Mulder and Scully, were they a couple?
Oh, I watched the X-Files, but not the whole series. So they must have got together like after I stopped watching. I watched them until the movie came out.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember them.
I fell off after that. Yeah.
Oh, it was the same thing near the end of the series. They had to make them a couple.
I guess that's what happened.
I'm gonna have to Google this later because I don't honestly. I'm assuming they must have finally hooked up.
Or is it supposed to be like the couple that never did but should have? I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Yeah, because I kind of fell off. I remember the movie. I stopped watching. Like I loved the X-Files when it first came out, and then I kind of fell off, and I never saw the movie.
No,
like I had fallen off watching by that point, but maybe they did get together. I don't know.
Maybe Mulder got probed.
I literally never watched the show Martin and Gina, so I don't know.
I loved Martin. Yeah,
I never watched it.
I did, but I'm just trying to like. I know Gina. I can picture her and like them kind of the bantering and whatever, but I don't know.
They weren't the same. Like they didn't have like an on again, off again. They were just like a funny couple.
Were they married?
Yeah,
I think so.
Pretty sure they were.
Were they? Okay, I don't. Yeah, I honestly don't remember.
I just can't speak a lot on it because I don't know. Carrie and Mr. Big, Sex in the City.
This seems like another toxic one.
Mr. Big was a douche.
Yeah.
She belonged with Aiden more than Mr. Big. I mean, Mr. Big was the guy that strung her along. Like he would be like, okay, we're like hookup buddies, but we're not gonna like be together. Like their first couple dates, he took her. That's a whole episode. He took her to like this, the Chinese food restaurant. 10 blocks away where nobody goes, and you take people you don't want to be seen with because he kind of had a girlfriend. He was always on business, and he loved her, but like he like couldn't commit, and like she wanted more. And they obviously we know they end up getting married, and then even in the reboot series, he like dies, which is good because I think
that's right.
Spoiler alert,
tanked Peloton too. He got on a Peloton bike.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that was a big news thing. It's like what? Take their stocks. Oh my god.
But I think that needed to happen for the reboot because the reboot of the TV show, not the movies, but the reboot of the TV shows needed to be her on her own again without him.
A fresh start?
Well, just without him, because it was when she was with him, she was always under his shadow. And Carrie was a strong character. She was independent. This
is Chris Noth or whatever, right? With Mr. Big? Okay.
I liked him as an actor, but I mean, she belonged with like Aiden way more.
Okay. I'm
just saying. Yeah, and Mr. Big's real name is John, that you find out in the last episode. Because it was always Mr. Big.
Was Aiden Baryshnikov?
No.
Oh.
That was so lame, that whole like thing.
He was on there, Baryshnikov.
But
so random.
How can I forget?
I wouldn't say
bring a Gregory Hines and reenact little White Nights reunion.
Honorable mention.
I was hoping for that.
Honorable mention for Carrie and Mr. Big as an iconic couple. I mean, they were because throughout the whole series, he was always kind of there, even when they weren't together. But again, he was kind of like a Ross. Like, he would go philander around, do what he wanted, but when she was doing something she wanted, she was kind of like, he got mad at her for it, and then she felt bad.
Yeah,
Mr. Big is trash.
You know, like kind of just that sort of thing. Whereas Aiden, who was, what's his name? Oh, I can't remember his name in real life. John Corbett. He was more carefree, and like he was like, you know, had a cottage in the woods and like a dog, and he liked to go fishing, and just like he made her like not so uptight. Whereas Mr. Big, they were kind of on this like, you know, I don't know, it was weird.
Maybe she needed that tension. She needed that in her life.
The what?
The tension and the drama that Mr. Big brought. She like needed that.
Yeah.
The problem was that she was hooked on him, right? And then
that's what they were getting at.
The drug, she needed that.
Yeah.
That high.
But then he stood her up on her wedding day, and then she still ended up getting married to him. That's the kind of guy he is.
Say what?
He had a hissy fit because he got nervous, and he tried to call her the morning of the wedding, and she didn't answer the phone. And so he was like, oh my God, I can't show up. And then he showed up late. And then as she was leaving, he tried to stop in the middle of the room and be like, no, Carrie, I love you. And then she got apeshit crazy and beat her bouquet over him and left him. Didn't get married, but at the end they did.
Oh.
Well, I don't need to watch it anymore.
Well, thanks a lot. Was that the movie or the show?
That's the movie.
Okay.
No. Yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the end.
There were two movies.
I forgot they made a couple movies.
The series ended when her and Mr. Big got back together. And then they had the movie where they were supposed to get married. And the second movie was when they're already married and they went to like Dubai and all the antics happened.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch Sex and the City at all.
And this last honorable mention, they need to be on this list too, more than I'm trying to see who I'd kick off for them. I mean, I'd probably kick off Zach and Kelly for this. This is more iconic, I feel like. I don't know.
And?
Brenda and Dylan, 90210.
Brenda and Dylan, yeah, I would put them, I think,
they're way
on
more
that
iconic.
list, yeah.
Like you said, Kelly and Zach was like 3 episodes.
Yeah, and it's just different.
But like
Dylan and Brenda were like gritty and
even
we're in the shit together.
No, but even like later on when they both left the show, they talked about how they were living together in Europe, right? So they were always you know, even in the reboot of 90210, where Kelly and Brenda came back for the first season, they talk about Dylan.
I totally forgot about that whole reboot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they're way more iconic.
Yeah. No, I think they definitely deserve to be more than just on the honorable mentions list, but
I think that they can.
ChatGPT overruled.
That's right.
I think
the AI overlords decided.
I don't know.
I'll bow down and thank them for making this list.
Eric, do you think that Brenda and Dylan deserve to be on the list over Zach and Kelly?
To be honest, I rarely watched either show, so I can't comment.
I got no doubts in this fight.
Pick one or the other. It makes no difference to me.
I'm trying to include you, Eric.
I talked lots.
I'm just kidding. Is there any couples that weren't mentioned that you think of off the top of your head?
Homer and Marge.
I was about to say that. Homer and Marge. Yeah.
True. I mean, they're like they're sort of like the cartoon like version of. Would they be like the cartoon version of Roseanne, kind of?
Sort of, yeah. I think so, yeah. With a little bit of Al and Al Bundy maybe mixed in there a bit. Yeah. Sort of. But,
and they both had their like times of temptation, but they were stronger and they came back together.
That's right.
Like with Marge with the bowling alley guy.
That's right.
And then Homer with Mindy. Yeah, that's exactly. Right.
You guys just wanted
and Lurleen Lumpkin too when he was
Lurleen, yeah.
You guys just wanted an excuse to talk about
Murphy.
The Simpsons.
You got a butt that won't quit. Sorry. That's Homer reading a poem that you went for Marge.
That's right.
But it was all
he was drunk at the brewery.
So instead of Marge, it said Murphy.
It's all like smudged out.
Okay, then.
Oh man, if I could remember everything else as much as I remember The Simpsons.
Oh, life would be so different. Yeah.
So weird. I don't understand how you remember it all.
Because it's hilarious.
Push out all that stupid math and science. I didn't need that. Here's some more Simpsons quotes to remember.
Exactly.
Fun toys are fun.
You want? Can we circle back now?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
That's a good honorable mention list, though. I think we decided Kevin and Winnie, Mulder, Scully, Martin and Gina, just because we didn't really watch it a lot, and Carrie and Mr. Big deserve to be honorable mentions. Or sorry, I should have did that the opposite way. Dan, Roseanne, Monica, Chandler, Brendan, Dylan should be on the main list.
Yeah, I think they should be on the main list. Yeah.
Because they were just like truly iconic. Like again, you just think of it this way. Like you can't think of 90210 without Dylan and Brenda.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And you can't think of I mean that's obviously the other ones.
Because I think Monica and Chandler kind of seem to Monica and Chandler seem to usurp Rachel and Ross on that show, kind of in like being the main character. They kind of.
I do have to give it to Friends. They did a very good job of like the arc of the Ross Rachel and how they were able to keep it going for 10 seasons without it getting super old. And I think you're right. I think it's because both of you said this. They had Monica and Chandler interspersed to make people kind of forget about it for a little bit and then go back to Monica and Chandler.
What about someone like I don't know, I guess that'd be considered ER, George Clooney and Juliana Margulies. That was like a big one, but is that considered?
Yeah, I mean it does.
I'm not sure how that was like a big one.
No, that started in that was 95. Yeah,
so I'm not sure, but that was like I remember that being like a pretty big thing.
It was because I mean she ends up leaving the show to go be with him because she has twins with him, but he wasn't in the show very long, so it's kind of like one of those. I guess he was like 4 seasons.
Yeah, I don't know why for some it just made me think of that. So like, that's one that
epic relationship too. I would say. I mean, I wouldn't say epic. I don't know if it deserves to be on the list per se, but maybe honorable mentions.
No, it just made me think of it. I don't know why for something that popped in my head.
It was a good show.
Yeah, ER was a good one too. That was another like a huge groundbreaking.
I think like although I would have to figure out exactly when the show came on, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 90s, maybe late 90s.
ER?
No, King of Queens. I don't care. It was funny, but
I think it was like 99.
Yeah.
Okay, so more millennial, but we are millennials, so it's kind of like whatever.
Yeah.
But they were an epic couple.
Yeah, that was a good one too. King of Queens. Yeah.
Like they could go from literally calling each other the worst names ever, but you knew they loved each other.
Oh yeah, weird. I mean, one of my favorite episodes is where they have like a computer, or their laptop does it'll like record dialogue and it records one of their fights.
That was amazing.
So funny.
Her dad Arthur uses that as like a script for his play. And then like I think she sprayed like bug spray in his face or
on his food because
on his food. That was it. Or something. It's like tiny fractures. And it's like,
and like their new neighbors are therapists, so they're like, can you? Because after they realized it printed out, they read it. And they're like,
after their therapist, what do you think of this? What we say to each other, like, call him like her. She would call him like fatty, fat, and he would
Fatty McFatterson.
Yeah,
it's so over the top, but it was just their comedic relief with each other was amazing.
Lee Marini and
it was so good.
Well, Kevin James, they were really, and Arthur.
You're having trouble.
I'm trying to Jerry Stiller and Patton Oswalt. So that show was good.
And Jerry Stiller was hilarious when he was George Costanza's father. That was a hilarious couple.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
George Costanza's parents.
George and Estelle.
George and Estelle, they were amazing.
Were they good parents though?
No, they're awful parents.
No, not
that it matters. We're not talking about
they weren't good parents, borderline bad people. They were just hilarious as characters.
I forgot we were talking about couples, not parents.
They were like Peggy and Al Bundy.
Yeah.
Oh,
and like
seniors.
Retired.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of anger.
So
a lot of yelling.
But you guys, that is our list of TV couples who gave us butterflies, breakups, and more will they, won't they than a high school dance episode.
Next week, we are heading next door. Literally, it's the top 10 neighbors who borrowed sugar, spilled tea, and somehow never knocked.
From fence philosophers to surprise refrigerators, these neighbors are always in your business and somehow in your heart. So grab your binoculars because we're creeping into sitcom suburbia.
That's it for today's video, guys. We thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.